You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Looking forward to getting today's Total Wellness Tuesday show, and that's because we're going over a very commonly misunderstood concept within the natural health space, and that's trying to figure out the difference between a cleanse, a detox, and a fast. And to be honest, they're interchangeable words that are oftentimes used incorrectly, and oftentimes used incorrectly by marketing companies, manufacturers, and even health professionals. So what I want to do today is I really want just to make things simple. That's really what the Cabral Concept is all about, is trying to help you figure out these big, complex, natural health-based issues so that you can do things more clearly, you can get more benefit, and that will lead to better results. When you get better results, you're happier, you're healthier, you're living a better life. So let's get into that today. Now, what I want to do is I actually want to help you figure out today the difference between a cleanse, a detox, and a fast. Believe it or not, they're actually very, very stark differences. And so I think now when you go to read material on a detox or a cleanse or a fast, you'll really know what this is all about. You'll have more knowledge, which obviously leads to more power. And as I said previously, it's going to get you better results. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. Now, the first one is a cleanse. Most people use or interchange cleanse and detox all the time, but very, very big differences. So literally the word cleanse in the dictionary means to make thoroughly clean. So why would we use that natural health? Now, again, keep in mind, detoxes, cleanses, and fasts are all very, very important. They're just done for different reasons. So I want to use all of them, but I want to pick the right one at the right time. So here's what we do. When you are looking to remove something from the body and just kind of clean out an organ such as the skin, the kidneys, or the lymphatic system, we're doing basically a cleanse. And a cleanse allows you to do something like hot water with lemon and apple cider vinegar. It allows you to do something very specific like a kidney-based cleanse where you would use herbs such as uva ursi, and you would use stinging nettles or nettles in general. You use something called horsetail. You would use cranberry, a lot like our urine. We've what's called a healthy urinary tract protocol, and that's for women that are prone to urinary tract infections, and they get an imbalance essentially in the alkalinity, acidity, and bacteria in the kidneys. And so what we're looking at in the bladder as well, but what we're looking at is helping to cleanse the kidneys, cleanse the bladder of some of this bacteria, of anything that might be festering in there. So a cleanse is just a removal process, very, very natural. So another thing that we would use for a cleanse is our intestinal cleanse. That's what we call it, the intestinal cleanse. And well, what does it do? Well, it cleanses, it literally removes, it makes thoroughly clean, the definition of cleanse, right? Makes thoroughly clean the bowels. So for 7 days, very, very simple protocol. We have people use things that contain within them senna, cascara, bentonite clay, activated charcoal, and they're using these very specially formulated capsules. They take them before bed so that when they wake up the next day, they're having 2 or 3 bowel movements. Not like running to the toilet. You can still go to work. You can still have a normal day, but larger bowel movements where you're actually removing more of the fecal matter that's old and built up from the intestines. So that's days 1 and 2, and then you continue taking those capsules at night. But then on days 3 through 7, what you're doing with this is you're using this powder, which again contains the bentonite clay and the activated charcoal. And what it's doing is it's expanding, not harmful or anything like that, and also not uncomfortably, but it's expanding within the intestines. And that's a good thing. It helps to pull, because bentonite clay and activated charcoal, especially bentonite clay, has a magnetic-based, ionic-based property that allows it to pull a lot of the fecal matter out of the crevices in the intestines, little pockets, and again, right out of the bowels when you have a bowel movement. And again, you should be having 2 to 3 bowel movements per day on your intestinal cleanse. That allows you to really fully clean out a lot of the built up bacteria that shouldn't be in there. It helps with parasites, helps with a lot of things. And then, of course, with ours, we give you a bottle of what's called the Clean Gut Probiotic that you use after your intestinal cleanse to help repopulate the gut with good bacteria, but also with something called Saccharomyces boulardii, which helps to push out the negative pathogenic-based yeast. So those are just a couple examples, but you could even call like a skin cleanse one where you are applying mud to the skin itself. And then you are going through a sweating-based process or a ritualistic bath. And then you're using a sauna to really sweat out and cleanse the skin. So what I want you to think about is when you hear the word cleanse, I want you to think about clean, to get clean or to make clean. So whatever there is in that object, we're just trying to remove it. Like we also have what's called the amazing liver cleanse. So it's not our product. I give you a cheat sheet. If you type in liver cleanse on stephencabral.com/podcast, you'll actually get the exact cheat sheet for what we do and how we help people with it. It's very, very simple. It's been used since way back in Ayurvedic times. It was used in Greek times. It was used in a lot of different forms of ancient medicine to cleanse the liver of built up bile and a lot of other cholesterol-based products that can be lodged in the liver. And the liver, keep in mind, is thousands of ducts that can get narrowed and they can get sludge-like. And this has obviously been seen on autopsies and just in people's overall health. So that's a really good example, another really good example of a cleanse. And hopefully, again, that's starting to make sense because the liver cleanse is not the detox we're about to talk about, okay? So it's essentially using things like a liver cleanse. Another really good example of a liver cleanse is using parsley, and it's using grapefruit, and it's using olive oil, and it's using Epsom salt if we want to dilate the liver ducts. And it works, again, amazingly well. Malic acid to soften the bile. So we use these things very, very naturally, and we just have to understand that it's not a detox, okay? Again, amazing. We use liver cleanses all the time. We use to help people save their gallbladders as well. We use urinary tract protocols. We use skin cleanses, especially with a lymphatic-based massage, and then infrared sauna afterwards. We use kidney-based cleanses using uva ursi and other herbs that I named previously. We do healthy urinary tract cleanses, which is essentially the cranberry. We use the D-mannose. We use the vitamin C, the grapefruit seed extract, a lot of great natural herbal-based products. So again, in cleanses, you see a lot of herbs being used because they're very, very powerful. Now, for a detox, what's the difference? Well, the difference is with a detox, the definition is rids the body of toxic or unhealthy substances. And how do we do that? Well, with a detox, we're essentially binding, okay? So we're actually specifically removing things from the body. We're not trying to get a liver or a kidney or the skin or anything like that to just push things through. What we're actually doing is a binding-based process and helping the body to do its job better. So as an example, a heavy metal detox. A heavy metal detox would be actually using things like cilantro. It'd be using things like Craxel chlorella. So natural-based binding herbs or plants that can help to remove mercury, lead, aluminum, other heavy metals like that right from the body. So it works phenomenally well. And we have something called a heavy metal detox. I think we even call it a heavy metal detox cleanse because so many people are used to hearing the word cleanse. Like, okay, well, what's the difference? Well, this is actually specifically using things like Craxel chlorella, cilantro, and we're using vitamin C along with it as well. And we're using the biofilm disruptor too. The biofilm disruptor gets a little bit deep into the biochemistry and science, but essentially biofilms, this kind of like thin, slimy layer inside of your intestines can actually be built with all sorts of different heavy metals that covers parasites, it covers bacteria, and it actually allows them to live longer. So until you use these biofilms, you can't actually get at the yeast, the candida, the SIBO, all of those things. And that's, of course, why we're so successful in our practice with our candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, which is more of a cleanse than a detox because we're cleansing, we're removing those things. Okay, so what else with a detox? Well, keep in mind our Dr. Cabral detox or any functional medicine-based detox. Again, this show is not me promoting any of our specific protocols. If you're working with a functional medicine doctor, my goal is to allow you to better know what your functional medicine doctor is doing with you. Hopefully, this obviously makes sense. So if they're putting you on a functional medicine detox, this is probably the most merit out of anything. And the reason is we have a lot of science behind it. So that's why we use it, of course, in my practice as well. So what is it? Well, what it is specific vitamins such as vitamin C, E, it's vitamin D. There's obviously a lot of the vitamins that go along with it, the folate, the natural methylfolate, the B12. We're using those along with glutamine and a few other phase 1 nutrients, they're called. So your liver basically works in 2 phases. Okay, so let's say that you're losing 5 pounds the first week on your Dr. Cabral detox or another functional medicine detox if you choose weight loss. Not everybody obviously chooses to lose weight. What you're doing is you're releasing toxins from those fat cells that have to be processed in the blood, and all of your blood is filtered through your body every 6 minutes through your liver. So now your liver binds up a lot of those fat-soluble toxins that just came out of the liver, okay? And it's turning them into what's called an intermediary metabolite. Now, that intermediary metabolite is then going to be processed by what's called phase 2 detoxification of the liver. And this uses what's called the cytochrome 450 and other base processes that we won't really get into today. But what that means is it's predominantly using a lot of sulfur-based amino acids. It's also using glutamine. There's selenium being used. Zinc is part of the process for both phase 1 and 2, which is really, really important. I mean, super important. But a lot of things we don't get. That's why a lot of people, what they do is they get their vitamins, but they lack the sulfur-based amino acids. They lack the N-acetylcysteine. They're lacking the glutathione. So what happens is their body is actually recirculating toxins back in their blood. And that's why they might have skin-based issues. They might have fatigue. They might have, autoimmune-based issues, of course. So what we need is the sulforaphane from things like broccoli and cauliflower. So here's the thing. When you do a functional medicine detox, what you're doing is you're getting, for example, our daily nutritional support. That's part of the powder that's in there. That helps a lot with phase 1. Plus, it gives you the amino acids from the pea and rice-based vegan protein. Okay. But phase 2, you're getting from what's called our FM detox. That's why you can't just do it with a shake alone. It's not enough. This is very specifically formulated. And again, we're not the only ones. It's just, I believe our product is obviously second to none because I formulated it from scratch. I didn't have to go by any other people's methods. I said, this is what's shown in the research. This is what works best. This is what I want to use for myself, my family, obviously my practice. So what it does is it contains the glutathione, it contains the N-acetylcysteine, it contains the thing that your body needs, your liver needs specifically to filter your blood and be able to remove these harmful toxins such as the plastics, the estrogens, all of those different environmental-based products that our body must filter to get rid of to stay healthy, all the 77,000 man-made chemicals in the environment. So to make a long story short, when you're doing things like a heavy metal detox or a liver detox, which we just call a functional medicine detox, or ours is called the Dr. Cabral detox, but again, there are others out there. The reason they work is because they have specific nutrients that binds up products, so it binds up toxins, and it allows them to safely be pushed through the bile or through your stool. So when you have a bowel movement, through the sweat or into the urine. Very, very simple process through the stool, water soluble through the urine or through the skin, or even sometimes huffed out through the lungs. So again, cleanses are very powerful for what they are. Bowels, kidneys, bladder, all that fantastic, liver as well. And then the detox is the binding up of the cancer-causing substances that basically are in fat cells, your brain, all of those things as well. Super, super important, just very, very different. And then the fast. Well, this is where it gets really confusing because a fast, it just means this. Again, dictionary, abstain from all or some kinds of food or drink. And that's really what it is. So people they're doing like 5 or 6 juices a day, okay? Like just for one day of the week. And I think that's fantastic. Like I have no issue with that. And a lot of times on a Monday when I'll do my intermittent fast or I'll do my 24-hour reset diet, I'll mention all these things again at the end. So sometimes I'll just do green juices. Like that's another way. But that's not, like it's not a juice cleanse. A juice is not really a cleanse unless you're adding herbs to something. So that's the misnomer. That's where it's just kind of, again, no one's doing it harmfully. I know great companies that I work with and they're calling it a juice cleanse. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean anything. And yes, it actually helps to cleanse a little bit with the kidneys, but there's no specific herbs. Really what it is called a juice fast. That's what it should be called. You're fasting from whole food and you're giving your digestive system a chance to rest. That's a great thing. Like meaning like fasting, juice fasting, not from fruit juice, but from vegetable-based juice is an absolutely incredible thing for your body. I can't think of anything that's going to help people live longer, get healthier, lose weight better than doing a fast once a week, every couple weeks, or at least once a month for one day. Like, I don't think that that's too much to ask. And no, you're not going to die if you don't eat for the day. And just type in intermittent fast at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And what you'll find there is you'll actually find all different episodes on how to fast. 12 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours, 2 days, however long. But I give all the different ways to do that. Now, do keep in mind, my fast, I typically go from Sunday night, I have dinner Sunday night, and then I go and I have dinner Monday night. So I do a 24-hour, but I still eat every day, and I still get to come home with my family on Monday night. We sit down for a meal together, and obviously it's chaos because I have 2 young girls and a dog that likes to, try to jump up and eat all the food. So anyway, it's a good time. But we always get to have dinner together. And so that's why let's say you have a husband or wife or kids or anyone you live with that's not supportive. You could still fast during the day and go home at night and still have a dinner with the family. It makes it really, really easy. And it's a great way to just do your green juices at like 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock. I have to do math now, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you come on home and then you have your dinner maybe at like 6:30 or 7, like anywhere around there. Typically when people doing vegetable juices, I'm doing every 2.5 to 4 hours maximum just to make sure the body's getting plenty of fluids and plenty of nutrients from the vegetable juice itself. I'll go into vegetable juice cleanses in the future. There's so many great companies I would love to recommend to you. I'll do that on a Friday review if you're interested. If you're not, of course, then I won't waste your time. So let's do a little recap for fasting. There's our 24-hour reset diet. It's completely free. Just keep in mind, my job is to try to give away all the information that I have, all the information that I use in my practice completely free. You can go to cabralsupportgroup.com. That's a private Facebook group where you're allowed to ask my team and my health coaches and myself any questions you may have. You can go to stephencabral.com/ask Cabral. And that is where I answer your questions each and every weekend on our Cabral house calls. And of course, if you ever have a question about the Dr. Ball Detox, just go to support@Dr. Ball Detox. And for everything else in the world, just go to support@stephencabral.com. So what am I trying to say is we're here to help you in any way possible. I know how confusing that these things can be. I know how hard it can be to choose a lab. So what do? You just email support@stephencabral.com whenever in doubt. Literally my job, my team's job is just here to support you. That's it. Even if you don't want to go with one of our products, we're still here to support you. It's not like we're not going to answer your email, or it's not like we're not going to help you by me creating these specific products. Or half my products are recommending other people's products. And all the labs, none of the labs are mine. They're all other companies. So our job is, really to support you. So let's go down the list. For a cleanse, again, it really means to make thoroughly clean. It means to remove, to push out, to wash away. That's what a cleanse is. So like a colonic is a cleanse. Essentially a coffee enema is a cleanse. You're cleansing, you're cleaning out your liver. When you do a liver cleanse, a kidney cleanse, a skin cleanse, a bowel cleanse, anything like that, a healthy urinary tract cleanse, any one of those things, you're pushing out and you're using a lot of herbs such as, again, nettle, horsetail, parsley, cranberry, any of these things. They're all great. They're just the ones that are coming to mind right now. The bowel-based cleanse, the senna, the cascara, the charcoal, the activated charcoal, the bentonite clay. Beautiful products. Recommend them all. But again, when you're constipated and you're built up or you're halfway through the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, you just finished a parasite protocol, that's when you do intestinal cleanse. Why do you do the intestinal cleanse there? You want to push out. You want to remove all the stuff that you just killed, okay? The Dr. Ball Detox is such as the heavy metal detox, your favorite functional medicine doctor's detox, any one of those things. They specifically give you phase 1 and phase 2 nutrients that you need, that your liver needs, that it can't do its job without. Keep in mind, it literally can't do its job without these things, or it does it at 10%, 20%, 30%. And it's why you feel sluggish. It's why you feel run down. It's why I now have essentially unlimited energy because I'm running on a clean body. And that was my next level. That's how I got to my final pinnacle of health, is by just detoxing, by just removing the stuff from my body that was so built up for 3 decades. I mean, that's really what it was. And the fasting is literally not eating, or it's doing hot water and lemon, hot ginger tea throughout the day, or it's doing vegetable-based green juices, or it's doing green powders throughout the day. You could use our daily fruit and vegetable blend and literally just do a big 16 or 24 ounce water with a tablespoon of our daily fruit and vegetable blends, which is just your greens in there, every 3 hours. That would work fantastically well. You can do your favorite vegetable juice, fast. That would work great. I almost said detox myself again, but it's a fast because you're abstaining from whole food. Or you can do our 24-hour reset, which people love as well. It's kind of just like a mini day of you doing 3 shakes. You're doing just basically breakfast, lunch, mid-afternoon, and then you're doing dinner with the family, spouse, partner, whoever it might be. So again, this was a recurring question that just kept coming up. So I wanted to answer it for you. I hope it was helpful. I love answering these questions. I really appreciate you being a part of this community. Thank you so much. I appreciate your iTunes reviews. I appreciate your shares. So again, if this episode helped anyone clear up some confusion, please do feel free to share it with them. Thanks. Take care.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.